Hi, welcome back to 5 Minutes in the Word with Redeemed Girl Ministries, and I'm Marian Jordan Ellis. I just want to confess, as I start this week's Bible study, this is a word that I personally desperately needed to meditate on, memorize, and think about. I've had a week that was absolutely overwhelming, and I say that in the sense that I know that I'm not alone, and a lot of you can comprehend. My family is right now living out of suitcases. Our house is being completely remodeled, and so urban struggles, I understand, but and we just came off this incredible summer of ministry, and then we're heading into the fall. And plus, P.S., I'm going to play the pregnancy card. I'm 7 months pregnant, so a little bit hormonal, and it just seemed like this week all of these things descended upon me. Things that by themselves would have been totally manageable, but when you put them all together, I went to, I'm going to confess, a little bit of the crazy place. And my mind became overwhelmed. I became full of fear. And so as I sat down to actually prepare and study for these verses this week, God just really showed me the answer to your fears, the answer to everything that's overwhelming you is who I am. So with that introduction, let me just say I am so happy that this week we are looking at the fact that our God is omnipotent. Now that is a big $10 theological word, which means all powerful. It's a word when we look at our weaknesses, we look at our shortcomings, we look at our have-nots, we can lift our eyes up and look at the Lord who has all things under control, who has all the power, and we can rest and have hope in Him. Well, our verse this week, if you're following along in our scripture cards, the My God Is scripture cards, our verse this week is My God is Omnipotent, and it's Jeremiah 32:17. And I'm going to read it for you, but what I want you to notice as we're reading it, the word omnipotent is actually not in the verse, but what the verse talks about is God being all-powerful. So it says, "Ah, sovereign Lord, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. Nothing is too hard for you." Now I had to emphasize that last part because that is really the key. As what Jeremiah does here is he lifts his eyes up and says, "Ah, sovereign Lord." And that is really the highest name we can give God, which is Lord, meaning you are the great I am. There is no other. You are the only true God, and you're sovereign. And in that, he then switches to say, here's the truth that my overwhelmed heart needs to know. Nothing is too hard for you. Now, as we always want to look at when we study the Bible, what is the context? Now, this is a super cool context because Jeremiah is a prophet of God, and he's speaking to the nation of Judah who has gone into captivity in Babylon. Now, what they've lost is their land, which is part of the God's covenant promises to them, that he would make them a people, he would give them a land, and he would bless them. Now, when they lose the land of Israel to Babylon, it looks like, and it seems like, that God's promises have been broken. But this temporary punishment for their idolatry is never going to negate the promises of God. So what God calls Jeremiah to do is, in the middle of this captivity, in the middle of Judah being taken captive by Babylon, he tells Jeremiah, I want you to buy a piece of land here in Israel. And it's a symbolic gesture to say, I am greater than Babylon. I'm greater than any king. I am more powerful than any foe. And if I have said that you will return to this land, guess what? You're going to return to this land. And as a symbolic gesture, God asked Jeremiah to buy a piece of that land to say, I believe that God is able. I believe that God is powerful. I believe that God can do what God has promised. Now, that's what we have to understand when we think about God being omnipotent. When we look at our have-not, we don't look at what we can come up with in the natural realm to believe that of his ability. We have to look at who he is and what he has promised and trust in what he can do. I pray this word has blessed you. I pray, as it has me, has given you courage to overcome your fears and to rest in him and to be still and know that he is God.